Oh, hello. Hi, guys. This is quite there. It's having me morning coffee. Welcome to the channel. My name's Andy. Work for Wheelspin Models. This is Ryan. You all know Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Beautiful man.
Are you hosting this?
Would appear to be, yes. So, today... No, go on. Sorry, mate. Can if you want. That's the problem.
I mean, if you want to host it, feel free. Look into the camera. Give it a go. See how you feel.
Right. So, today we're here at Wheelspin Models, the wonderful Wheelspin Models, and we're looking at the Maverick Quantum R Flux. Now, you might have seen the other posts relating to this, so you might be aware of what's going on, but if not, go back and watch them, I implore you, or read them, should I say. They're fantastic articles. The gist of the matter is, we were running this all the way up through to 4S testing, and we had a little bit of a disaster and crashed it. I'm sure we'll cut to the video there.
Oh, that.
And then we're back in the room now. That's fantastic. Basically, as I say, we had a little bit of a crash while speed testing, but that's okay. That's part of the game. That's what it's here for. Drive them, brash them, repair them, carry on. That's what it's about. So today we're going to be looking at what we did to get it back up into a running state that it's currently in now. Just to show you that you can do it, you know, and this was an absolute disaster. This thing was broken in half. If we take the old shell off here.
You know what? You do not need me. You go for it, mate.
So we've got the shell off. You can see the car here. Now, it actually broke in half. It snapped across here on the rear bulkhead, across those two bolt holes there. And it also sheared the top here, just across the rear of the chassis. So it was literally the rear end completely off. I'm sure we'll cut to a picture of that as well. So basically what we had to do was get it back into a state that it could be driven again and used. So to do that, what we did, it was a fairly simple process, and there'll be some pictures I'm sure popping in as we're going through it. What we did, we got a replacement rear skid plate. It comes as a pair, front and rear. We hadn't damaged the front, so we've got a spare there. We've just got a rear skid plate, which we attached. Very simple. Bolts came off on the back here, bolts underneath. We simply reattached it, retightened everything, checked everything mated up and was square. That was the easy part back together. The slightly more tricky part was at the top, where we'd broken it across the top mount. We didn't actually have a spare chassis available from the supplier, so I had to do a little bit of a sort of make, do and mend situation. So what I did, and again, pictures I'm sure will be accompanying this, the delightful Ryan will sort those out. What we managed to do was glue across, down behind the mounting point on there, just to show it had a secure point back onto the chassis. And then we took two servo horns, sort of milled them down a little bit, amended the size of them, and then we attached those servo horns to the rear deck of the chassis, and then attached the front mounting points of the servo horns to the brace mount on the chassis here. So it's actually tied in now across 2 points on the top, as well as the standard brace mount on the bottom. Now, it's a little bit of a Heath Robinson way to do it, and it's certainly not what HPI would recommend, but we've managed to get it back into a state where not only is it back together and functional, but it drives straight, it turns, it drifts as it should, and it handles as the original car did. And so far, we've run maybe 10 or 15 packs through it, not had any issues yet. Cross those fingers, there's no wood to touch, unfortunately. So at the moment, it appears that it's in a reasonably good running state and we can carry on with it. And it's proving to be an absolutely fantastic bit of kit. 50 miles an hour, pretty much out the box, 4S capable, and still at that bargain price at the time of release of £224.99. That's £224 for a 4S capable street basher. Now, the next closest sort of car that can do that is an Armour Infraction. Now, that is over twice the price, and I just don't see that it's twice the fun. Admittedly, we did break it, but it's been repaired for very, very little cost, and it is back together, and it is functioning fully as it should be. Absolutely fantastic piece of kit. I cannot recommend this highly enough. You know, get out there, get it bashing, get ripping with it, and enjoy it.
Right, so, first question, how on earth did you break this?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'm sure there'll be some kind of thumbnail at some point somewhere going on, but no pressure right there for you to get that in. We was on the 4S speed run test. We've done the 2S, the 3S, the handling part and the speed runs. Yep. All great, really, no problems at all. Done the 4S handling test. That was fantastic. Literal drift wizard, demonic quality on 4S, absolute monster. Brilliant, that's what we like. Done a couple of passes on the 4S on the speed run, but felt like we needed a little bit more room because it didn't feel like it was fully stretching its legs. So what we did, we took it out onto the road, adjacent to where we were speed running it, because it had a much longer area, a little bit narrower though, so I was a little bit nervous, but we thought, well, we'll give it a go. What could go wrong? Yes. So on there, done a couple of passes at that, got it up to about 45 mile an hour, not so bad. Did one final pass, as always, one last go.
Yep.
Should never do that, folks. Finish on a high. Never do one last go because it will never end up well, as in this case. Did that, and literally midway through the last pass, went over a little bit of a damp patch in the road at full chat. The back stepped out rapid, and I had no chance of saving it. Before I knew it, I was in the curb, impacted this wheel on the back. Literally went into the curb that way, impacted the wheel there, and sheared the chassis straight across. Bits of stuff up on the floor. Sheared straight across, and that was it. Back end off, game over, day done.
Split it into two.
Split into two. More value for money though. 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. Ish, sort of. But just, not in the correct orientation.
Just one working half.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a feature that they're going to advertise, but it was one that came with on the day.
If people start sawing their Mavericks into two now, you realise this is your...
Disclaimer, Wheelspin models are no way condone the cutting of your car in half. No way. If you do that, it's absolutely on yourself. We'll accept no responsibility for either the comedy value it ensues or the disaster and the tears that happen as well. So please don't do that at home, guys.
From this car, where would you think the next car you're going to look at in terms of bashing or on-road racing? Where do you think you're going to move on from this?
What would be my next car? I think I'd like to keep it in the road basher vein. Might upgrade to something like an infraction. I do quite fancy a bit of 80, 90 mile an hour goodness in there.
Yeah.
Or they do a rally version of this one, the RX, and I quite fancy a little bit of a rally basher. That would be quite good. So maybe one of those two options might be the next step. But I think it would be, I'm not going to go for a traditional basher, I don't think, or a big off-road basher. I've got enough of those. I quite fancy doing a bit of tarmac terrorism.
Bit of a low-profile tyres.
Yeah, over the summer, get something. I like the fact that it's just scrubbing up the inside edges of the tyres here, just through the bit of wheel spin. I like that. Wheel spin. So, yeah, something along those lines would be good.
So if you did want to get this up to speed, where would you think, because cars come out the box like the Felony and so on, they come out the box 80 plus. Where would you get this? 45 you said it was?
It was just about 45, 46 mile an hour off, which isn't amazing on 4S. I'm going to throw that in there now. But I think it's due to the incredibly conservative gearing it runs. It's only got a 17 tooth pinion. You can whack that up to a 21, 22 tooth probably, and you'd be up to mid 50s on that as well. So it's not too bad. I think with this, what we'd need to do is we'd be looking at you've got to be taking it 6S, I think, on that one. Now, I don't know if the motor will take 6S. I can ask one of the experts, many experts at Wheelspin models. The ESC definitely won't, so that would be the first upgrade. We get that up to something that will handle a 6S LiPo in there. If it turns out the motor won't take 6S, then we'll upgrade it to something 6S and get there. Slight alteration to the gearing, I think we'd be able to achieve high 80s very easily. I've seen other YouTubers out there running it still on stock 4S, but running a big pinion and a smaller spur, so it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, and they've had 85, 90 mile an hour plus, and that's on 4S. So I think what we're looking to achieve on 6S would be fine. Electrics wise, the rest of them, I'd keep the transmitter receiver absolutely fine. I've had no issues with that. Good range, good control, no issues with latency. That was fine. I think I'd probably go for a slightly quicker servo. It's a little bit sluggish if I'm on there. Typical Maverick fare really. It's an entry level servo, but again, for something like that, Power HD, you'd be looking maybe sort of £25-30 for a good replacement servo in there that'd do the job. Give you a much faster servo feel, which is going to give you a little bit better handling as well. And you're going to need that reaction as the speeds increase as well. So I think that's probably what I'd do. The rest, platform-wise, it handles great. It's absolutely fine. I wouldn't really tinker with anything else. Although, the extra S's, the extra RPM might bring up shortcomings in the handling and in the chassis down the line. But until we get those in there, we're not really going to know what those are until we get it in. But that's the sort of the upgrade path I'd look to get this up close to those triple digits if we could. Wheelspin models available for all your model needs, models, hobbies, anything. We're here for any advice you need. just pick up that phone. No phone call is a daft phone call. Honestly, we're here to help at any step of the way. So if you need anything, just give us a call.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Wheelspin Models, obviously. And you know it's Wheelspin Models because you're on the channel watching the video. So this isn't a surprise, unless you wanted to go, well, that'd be wrong. Don't do that. Come here. Much better. So that's Andy at Wheelspin signing off.